You're listening to the Boston Greeks podcast with Adi and Foti. They've been bringing Greek culture online since 1998, and now they're bringing you the best Greek guests Boston has to offer. So grab your kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another fantastic episode of the Boston Greeks podcast. I'm Ari, and with me is my co-host Foti. Let's give him a little introduction first. Hello Foti, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself, Ari?
I'm super cool, super good, except for the voice. I lost my voice. So just to reiterate something, there's a conspiracy theory going around. I lost my voice on Saturday night, and our guest was there on Saturday. So is it connected? We're not quite sure. That's why I brought him on right now, so we can kind of get to the bottom of this. Aside from the jokes, our guest is an amazing, very amazing individual, somebody we've known for a long time and we love, a very impressive individual on an intellectual level and on a talent level. And I think today we're going to kind of get into the talent level a little more. But you know what? Let's bring him on and we'll see. Foti, will you introduce our esteemed guest, please?
Absolutely. As always, every episode we bring on very exciting and influential guests who are dear to our hearts because of our culture here locally in Boston and possibly beyond. But with us, not only is he a good friend, fellow Alpha Omegan, but he represents what's really an important element of our culture, which is dance. Right, and with us is John Pappas. John, thank you so much for joining us on the Boston Greeks podcast. Busy that you are, because not only you are an amazing dance instructor, but you're also a professional in the dental field. So I'm sure you got a lot going on, and the fact that you took the time to join us is much appreciated. So welcome to the show, John.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, boys. Thank you very much. This is I got to say I'm a little disappointed. I thought this was the Joe Rogan podcast.
Well, this is going to prep you. It's going to prep you for that podcast. But
hey, take a few zeros off the listenership, and you got us.
Yeah, there you go.
But honestly, I really I love you guys. You guys are great. I really like what you guys have always done. Adi, like, if you want to talk about Blast from the Past, do you remember? I'm sure you do. GBTV.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was in a fustanella with my friend Jimmy, and
yes,
we did I won my GBTV at the parade of all.
Okay, so I'm gonna if I believe they're posted somewhere, but we'll put them in the links too with the show so people can see this awesome blast.
Was that 2001?
Oh my God,
2000. That was over 20 years.
It was. I want to say 04 maybe.
All right. So close to 20 years. Like the fact that
don't date us right now.
20 years later, John is going strong. And John, one thing that we always like to let our audience know is every guest that comes onto the Boston Greeks podcast is, number one, where you grew up. Because as Boston Greeks or Boston Greeks and beyond, we had this little rivalry growing up. Like, what part of, where'd you grow up? Whether it's South Shore, North Shore, Boston, West, Worcester. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, where you grew up, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm from Quincy.
Nice.
And that's with a Z, not a C. And that's how you know you're really from Massachusetts, when you pronounce it that way. I grew up, my parents obviously both born in Greece. My dad came here really young. Both my parents very, very proud to be Greek, both very bilingual as well. But, as you guys said, I'm a dentist in the city, and I enjoy that immensely. But my little passion project is Choro, which I started. Well, I didn't start the program. The program was founded in 1989, so this was our 35th year. Wow. And I was one of the original, dance kids in it. I never left. So around 2000, and you said 2001 for the TV thing. I think in 2002 is when I was appointed director of it. So I was actually in the middle of dental school. I wasn't quite done yet in dental school, and I've been directing it since then.
How did you juggle all that? Like that? I mean, dental school is not walk in the park and then teaching dance is
I would on Friday, like I've been teaching on Friday nights since like I don't know how long. And on Fridays I'd go to Brookline to teach Horo, and then I would go back to the library if I needed to, if we had like tests and whatever going on. Nice little 2 hour, 3 hour break, and then back to the library. But again, I've always loved Horo. My parents, my papu that I'm named after, actually played clarino in the Horio, self-taught. And if you want to get a kick out of a little factoid, my papu, the same papu, won an award on a cruise for dance and samiko.
Okay.
Okay, so it's kind of in my blood, but I mean, how random of a little award. I remember going to like the Horio and I'd say, Ma, what does this say? And oh, papusu quer na bravio pu Horio Tamiko. I was like, what?
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So John, real quickly, you say you grew up in Quincy. At that time, St. Catherine's in Braintree wasn't around. What was the church back then?
It was in Quincy.
It was called St. Catherine's as well?
St. Catherine's.
St. Catherine's.
St. Catherine's community's been around since like the mid 60s.
60s. And was it the church community that got you involved in dance?
No, it wasn't. But it wasn't. It was indirect because so we're the Metropolis of Boston Folk Dance Group. We're a ministry of the church, and that's when it was founded in 1989. Before then, just like even today, still there's like Greek schools, and then there's Horo associated with the Greek school, right? There's Greek folk dance that one of the teachers will show you a Kalamatiano and a Tsamiko and maybe a Karaguna or something for Greek Independence Day. And, that still goes on. But basically, we were founded to not just do that. We were founded as a program to expand the curriculum of it. So we dance, actually, we like teach every region. Every year, the kids that start taught mainland for the first half of the year and then a corresponding island area for the second half of the year. So as an example, this year, the kids are doing Megara, and then they're going to do Kiklades starting in January. Last year, it was Traki and Stasos and Samothraki were the islands. So we rotate, and something you guys probably don't know is there's hundreds of Greek dances. Hundreds. Sure. Like, I don't know all of them. And if I did, I forgot a lot of them, even though I know a lot of them, there might even be over 1,000 Greek dances. So it's a lot. It's a lot. And part of it is like, there's variations, this Horio does it this way, this other Horio does it this way. And they say, mis Horev to sosto, just like we might say, like Somerville doesn't know what's going on. Medford has it,
True, that's true.
I believe it.
Just kidding. Coming from Rosendale.
That's very interesting because honestly, I did not know that. I didn't know there was so much, and variations. It's almost like dialects, right? Like you all speak Greek, but there's so many dialects, and we all Greek dance, but there's so many different styles, but also variations of the styles. Is that basically?
Yes, that's correct. And, Greece is like full of, it was a good word I heard recently. It's like subcultures. You have the Pirotes, you have the Thrakiotes, you have the Makedones, you have the Podi, you have the Kritiki, you have the Kanisa, and everybody has their own like motifs, their own way of doing things. And it's reflected in Horo as well. Very much so.
And I think, John, that's probably can speak to, you said subcultures, right? So I think that also lends to the food culture. Everyone's different region cooks differently. I'm sure like our dialect changes a bit depending where you come from, right? And I'm sure it's the same suit.
I mean, that put it all together, and it just makes our culture is just so vibrant, so like
rich.
Yeah, it's like I love to hear this. I love it.
It's a very rich culture.
John, through the years of this, do you see a change in interest, in passion as time goes on with parents and young ones attending or signing up for dance? Where for us before, and we talked about this off air, but I think we were very fortunate when we grew up in our times, right? We were in the 80s and 90s where, our culture was a little more connected because we had a lot more going on in terms of events and dances. Every syllable had their annual dance amongst other events of the year. So we always had something to go to every month throughout the year, every location, every church, what have you. And as time went on, that kind of dwindled. So we're starting to come across a situation where there's less events, less dances for us to go to and enjoy. But now you come into the picture, not now, but you've been doing this, where I'm starting to see this huge influx in dance events and conferences and gatherings. Do you see this change of where we're starting to see more interest?
Yeah, that's a great question. The truth is you're right. Back in the day, we had like 2 or 3 events every weekend that you would be like, oh, which one am I going to go to? And it's kind of dwindled. The societies have kind of dwindled. I mean, you guys probably remember the Arcades. It was a huge dance, over 1,000 people every year, and like now it's gone. I felt bad. We used to perform at it every year. Anyway, but I think what you've touched on is like the parents were really Greek in the 80s and 90s. We still had like a lot of people that were from Greece. And then there was like a time when it just shifted down. And I think what you're seeing now is, and I think this is what I'm kind of like experiencing, is the people whose kids are of the age to be in our dance program or any dance program for that matter, those kids were in the groups. And they understood what it felt like to be a part of the dance groups. So now they want their kids to experience it. Whereas if you were a Greek from Greece, you'd be like, what is this? We go out every weekend. We go to Greece a lot, every summer. Like, some people are fortunate and they can send their family to Greece for the whole summer. Other people generally have like 2 weeks. And, maybe they might not have the Yayan Papu in Greece to say, we're just going to go and stay like in the Horia for the whole summer. You can't do that. And like Greece is, every trip is pretty expensive no matter where you go. But like when you don't have like that little like other support, Greece is like just going like anywhere else for a lot of it. So I feel like, we've had a rebirth because of people that have been in the program like this or something similar, and they want their kids to experience it. The other thing that I feel is important is as we get away generationally from, the people who came here along, originally, we have language is like more of a challenge now. But Horo is not. And I'm not trying to diminish one over the other at all, but it's just dance. You can do dance and you might not be able to speak Greek, right. And that's just, that's what we see. A lot of the kids that were in my program, when I was going through the program, both parents were from Greece or both parents were Greek. And now it's predominantly, half and half, like one parent being Greek and the other parent not being Greek.
Right.
Wow.
So it's very dominant in that way. So I'll say stuff in Greek to them, if I'm saying I mostly speak English to them. But I'll start rattling off words in Greek and, I can tell who understood me and who didn't very quickly, Yeah.
And that's the thing about our culture today. We speak about this in all facets, not language, traditions, our faith, and dance, which is definitely part of how we grew up. And as time goes on, we today have to figure out ways how to keep that flame alive. And I think what you're doing is definitely keeping that flame alive because, a lot of us don't really realize what goes on behind the scenes to be able to have an offer, not just like dance lessons, because I'm a father of 2 young, beautiful little girls that we've enrolled in. My wife has been very, very adamant that dance is important. Greek school is important. Sunday school is important, but dance is just as important. And, we sign them up for classes, and as much as it stinks, or I can say, we have so much going on. One thing that we have to add to it, it's fine. It's okay. Because in the long run, I think it's what the value is that holding on to our traditions is something that you can't really put a value on. As you lost time. I could have done this. I could have done that. So for those that are listening, I feel everyone's pain when they say we don't have enough time because we do so many things. Dance, I think, our Greek culture and our dance is just as important as Greek school.
So very quickly, I agree with you, but I have a little bit of a different angle. I think Greek dance is so important for all the reasons that it's important. But I'm a media guy in 2024, and I think Greek dance goes so much further in spreading our culture and exposing the beauty of our culture. Because, you're gonna post some dance videos on YouTube, on Instagram, and this and that. All these non-Greeks and Greeks alike can see what people are doing and how cool that is. And that really gets your blood like pumping, So like from my angle, it's like, it's so important for just the obvious beauty, the visual beauty. And it's somebody speaking Greek, you're going to post a video. It's like, okay, so they're speaking Greek, but they're going to do like this amazing Greek dance. And people are like, oh my God, look at this, look at this, look at this. Like, this is so cool. And that's like kind of my angle of like why it's so super important for these young people to be doing it still today for all the obvious reasons, but also for what I just said.
If I can add to that, John, real quick before you jump in, is one thing that I, as a parent, have experienced that makes me feel proud is when our children, when we go to visit Greece in the summertime and we attend a panigiri, because that's, obviously it's all about, and my kids can jump into dancing at a panigiri and I see them being able to flow just like the locals. That for me is everything. Like, wow.
And they're usually impressed, right? They're usually impressed at the Horo or whatever. They're like, oh, whose kid is that? How do they know Horo so well? And like, oh, είναι σε συγκρότημα in America, whatever. And I think you guys are both right. Let me just put it that way. Both of your points of view are correct because you're right.
You're better than Ari's, just so you know.
Well, I'll let you guys fight that one out. But, Adi's right because, you could have of course now there's like subtitles in every like video you can see, but you're right. I mean, it's a little more action. There's more action obviously involved with Horo. So that helps. And also, a lot of the costumes are really pretty and vibrant in color. And when you see that also adds a lot. And Forty, you're correct too, because like, somebody could be in soccer for up until through high school and, they might play in college too, but, after that, they might just drop it. And then there's no other instance for them to actually get back into it if they wanted to, whereas for social reasons, to be able to do Greek dance helps out a lot. I mean, think about this, and maybe this is not so prevalent now, but like back in the day, you would go, think about the Roxy. We would go, right? And everybody would dance all the Xena. And then at the end of the night, it was like Zebekiko. And it's like, all right, let's see who's got what, who can deliver. And that went a long way. I'm going
to tell you right now, John, you know who I am and how involved I was in the Greek scene. I envied all you guys that could do a kick-ass Zebekiko that just had a flow about you. I envy that. Like, I'm not a guy who envies, but I always envied the good Greek dancing guys. Well, the girls too, but because I'm a guy, I envy the guys who could do it so well. I just thought it was so cool.
Yeah. And then like even outside of that, like, because Zebekiko is not really a folk dance per se, it's a laiko, okay, but you see a guy that can do dance kritika really well or can do tsamiko really well, all of a sudden you're like, wow, that, like, where did that guy come from, or where did that girl come from, and like, look how good they are, and it adds a ton. I mean, it just adds a ton. So the point that you make, Forty, about like putting in the effort, I think it goes a lot further than a sport would, especially if it's a sport that the kids are just doing to like try and get into a school, and they might not even love it that much, but it all goes a long way after that. So
100%.
Yeah. Okay. So John, tell us now a little bit more about, what you're doing as far as, running these great initiatives for the dance groups. You also just finished your first conference dance, which was super amazing, because just the social media that I saw that what you were doing was like, how did he do this? So let's just speak about the fact of like, what you're doing today in terms of your involvement with dance.
So we had a really busy year this year. This was our 35th year, and originally we were going to just do like an anniversary dance or something to that effect. And I have two co-directors. One is Maria Bragianos Yakopoulou, and then Evangelia Andrea is what she goes in English, Kostopoulos, and they're my co-directors. So I turned around and said to them, listen, we can do 1, 2, or 3, or just the one, whatever one you want to do. We could do Industry Night, which we held in March, which was a fundraiser. And then we went to Greece in July. And then we had the folk dance conference in October. So it was a very busy, year this year. The Industry Night was kind of nice too, because we didn't expect it to have so many people. We knew it was going to be relatively successful, but we had it at St. Nectarios, and we had a Podiaco band, we had a Critico band, and we had a DJ, and they all played. The entry was pretty inexpensive. I think it was like $20, $25 at the door. It was really cheap. We had about 500 people show up to Razi.
Wow.
It was a lot of people. We ran out of chairs. We ran out of tables. It was crazy. And so we'll probably do that again as well at some point, just because of the success of it. And then we went to Greece this year. So we danced at Dora Stratou in Athens, and then we also danced in Santorini.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Yeah, 4 performances this summer in a week. So
is there an age limit? Like, can me and Ari sign up for these dances?
Guys, I don't know if you're like 2 left feet or what, but you're more than welcome to come in.
It will be unforgettable. I'll guarantee you that.
That's very true.
John, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. We had a great summer. So, in theory, you could have been like, okay, we're done. And then we got back at the end of July, and, it was really a strong push from, like, say, after the Capodagusto all the way to Columbus Day to try and make the folk dance conference a success. And we felt like we were overdue for this. You guys might not, I know I sent you my CV so you could just kind of quickly look at it. Mm-hmm. We've traveled a lot. We've traveled to Canada a lot. We've traveled to Greece a lot. We've traveled to LA, Orlando, DC area, New York, New Jersey, obviously. And, there's some folk dance conferences that like are pretty successful. And in the Northeast, we don't really have anything like that. So we wanted to do this a long time ago. And I think we were really ready this time to put it together. And as a result, we had people from all over on Columbus Day weekend, from Calgary, from Montreal, from Maryland, from North Carolina, New Jersey, New York, and obviously locally. And they all came. We brought instructors from Greece. We had 6 instructors from Greece that were teaching 4 different regions. We had a beautiful conference center in Waltham called Waltham Woods. And our headquarters was the Newton Marriott, which was about a 10-minute drive from the Waltham Woods. We had a Hellenic one night, and then we had the gala the other night.
Wow.
On top of that, we had a DJ and we had a band from Montreal. So it was a lot, but it was great. And, it was quite the experience. If GBTV is still around, Adi, you could have videotaped it and put it on.
We're bringing it back, man.
Bringing it back.
That is awesome.
But it was incredible. It was a lot of work. My 2 co-directors really deserve a ton of credit, and also the parents, because the Glendi and the Gala, we kind of let them organize, in terms of centerpieces and
Sure.
food choices and things like that. Tables, like setting the tables up, putting people at certain tables, like, Forty and I are going to sit together at table 11.
We don't want to sit together. That's
So it was great. And then we had a great donation of raki from Forty for my kids to distribute before they performed Kritika, which was really, really cool. It was so cool that the Newton Marriott loved it so much that they confiscated all the alcohol the minute we put it down.
Great bootlegging.
It was hilarious. To the point that the guy, the main guy said, is this alcohol? And I said, no, it's water. And then he took a sniff and he said, I have to take this
Water.
oh, jeez. That's a classic style story from
all good memories.
Greek events.
All good memories.
At the end, the good memories. So John, I mean, just listening to you, and I'm sure our audience that's listening, for those that haven't really had the opportunity or are just learning about you, is there a way for our guests to learn more and like sign up for what you're doing, or is something? Can you speak of like how someone else who has kids get involved?
So, generally speaking, we start kids off at 7 years old. We're in 4 locations right now. We're in Arlington at St. Athanasius. We're at Holy Trinity in Lowell. We're at St. Catherine's in Braintree, and we're also at the Maliotis Cultural Center. Our main like mothership is the Maliotio. We have a nice dance studio in the back. Our costumes are in the back, and we're bursting at the seams at Maliotis. It's crazy. We have like 75 kids on Thursday night there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nuts. We have to split the rooms up now. So we're trying to have instructors in 2 different rooms teaching the same age group basically at the same time because they just don't fit in the room. Not to say that we're outgrowing the Maliotis because we're not, but it's a tremendous problem to have. That goes back to my point about parents who used to be in the group who, all of a sudden, really want their kids to experience this. So a lot of those people are bringing their kids. And Thursday's a tough night. Any night is tough. You get soccer every single night. You have like music lessons. You have different, we're saying soccer, but, there's a ton of activities that you could do. But Greek programs, like Greek dance programs, do not grow on trees, and Greek instructors don't grow on trees. So you kind of have to make the effort as a parent to say, this is important to me. So I want my kids to I want to bestow upon this to my kids. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is, I think it's nice. And like you said, Adi, you saw us, or not, probably not me, but other people dancing really nicely and saying, geez, I wish I could dance like that. Well, it takes a little bit of effort, like from the parent perspective, at least at the beginning. Now my kids are killing themselves to come on Friday. It's because they go out after, they have a big, nice pareja. And so, it's a really nice thing to have on a weekly basis. And most parents, like it because they know where their kid is on a Friday night,
Right.
somewhere else, And don't get me wrong, I do not do this to babysit. I'm not a Goya advisor. That's not what I do. I'm teaching kids to become better dancers. That's my objective.
Your babysitting duties are when you hang out with Ari and I.
This is true. Although he was pretty good on Saturday night, Foti. He was pretty good.
His voice says it all.
Yeah.
The music was really loud. That's what it was.
John, this is awesome because honestly, I really thought I knew so much about what's going on. I honestly, I feel like with the age, I kind of got a little bit disconnected. But thank you so much for coming on and telling us just so much. We want everybody to know about you, but we want them to know what you're doing, what you're involved with, because as we said, this whole episode, it's just such an important aspect of our culture. It's something that we definitely feel strongly that needs to be upheld into the future forever. As long as, people have legs to dance with, this is something that should be happening. And, kudos and congratulations to you for doing what you do and for putting in that effort. That's no small feat.
It's not, but honestly, it's something again that I feel is very important. It is, like I said, it's a passion project for me. It meant a lot to me as a kid growing up, and then even further along, it meant a lot to me. I feel like when I started to teach, which was actually sophomore year of college, I started to realize that I was becoming a better Greek as a result of this for obvious reasons, but also I was learning a lot more about my culture through dance, because dance is a living history. There's dances that have sadness to them. There's a lot of dances that have joy to them, but there's dances that are danced around Easter. There's dances that are danced around a certain time frame of the year. And then, of course, you've got like the whole, I'm going to say Mardi Gras, but like all the Apocryphatica dances that exist. I mean, there's a lot of things that you go to Greek school, you learn Rimata, you learn Kalamatiano, and you learn like the national anthem, you learn a few Pimata and some songs. But then when Greek school's over and you're still like 11, 12 years old, you don't really, a lot of things might not necessarily register to you, like, and sink in. And then you get into choro and, you start to realize, oh, there's all these different dances from all these different areas, and every area has their own beauty. And that's why, like, somebody might ask me what's my favorite Greek dance, and I have a lot of favorite Greek dances, but I have them based on the region that they're my favorite Greek dance. So there's just so much of a rich history that it gets to get untapped when you go and become involved in Greek folk dance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very well said.
I definitely want to be on top when it comes to dance now because of you, John.
There you go. Well, you should.
So, and I'm sure Ari will speak of this, and we'll definitely have all this information notes of the podcast. But is there any place that we can let our audience know to find more information?
Yes. So we have a website. It's called GreekFolkDance.org. All one word, .org, Greek Folk Dance. And then, there's contact and email information on that. And it became a really big, busy website because of the conference, obviously. And then our social media got really busy because of the conference. But it was pretty successful because people I never met before knew about the conference, like locally, even from social media. So social media is a good thing, as you guys are very well aware. And that helped us out a lot. And, we're grateful for that. But we're also grateful for all the support we had for the conference, but also the support of the parents and the kids who love it so much. But it's a passion project for me. I'll give you an example. This morning, I was on the phone with Greece ordering tsaroukia because some of the tsaroukia have been ripped up. And so I'm ordering tsaroukia so they can get sent over here, handmade, like from like the guy who makes them for Dorostratu, And so it's like a legitimate, like it's what they use because this is the guy that you go to make the right tsarouki,
That's
So
awesome.
It's insane stuff. If you start digging, you go down a rabbit hole, trust me.
Right.
Awesome. Well, the last question I'm going to ask you, Paul, that Ari and I are curious is, do you do any private lessons? Like if we
personally, I used to do a lot of lessons. But with the family and everything, I can't really do it anymore. But my nephew could show you a couple more.
I'm sure there's a serious need for that as well. I'm sure there's people that would want to have private lessons instead of if you're very wealthy or whatever, and they just don't want to be.
If John teaches you and I, then we can do private lessons.
There you go.
Yeah.
We get a lot of our requests around April, May for weddings.
That's I didn't say it, but that was my thought process. There's a lot of need for those private lessons, so that is pretty cool for whoever could do it.
Well, after having John on the episode, I think I feel like having a dance session right now.
Right.
You should put on something in the background as you fade out.
Yeah. Well, as John has mentioned, all the information, his website, everything will be in the show notes. And just on our behalf, we want to say thank you once again, John, for being with us, taking that time out, sharing so much information that's so important to us and to the audience. And, everybody out there watching and listening, most of you probably know about this, but if you don't, check out the website, learn more information, get your kids involved, get yourself involved, because it's something extremely important to all of us. And, everything Greeks do needs support. So please be supportive of all of that. And once again, thank you so much, John. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. And Kali Sinechia, but also Kali Epitichia for everything that you guys do. I think it's great for so long too, Adi and everything. That was a great website that you created a long time ago. And,
thank you.
You guys deserve a lot of credit because you guys are bringing the Greek community together in your own way. And so that should be commended too. So
thank you so much. We appreciate that. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
On that note, everybody out there watching, listening, thank you for being with us. Support John, support the dances, support the groups, support events, support it all. Thank you once again, John. Thank you, Fatih. Thanks, everybody out there.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time.
Thank you guys.